Some great book recommendations for you. Okay, first up, we have Wired This Way. Okay, you may recall I did a workshop on this last year, which a lot of new friends came and really enjoyed it. Okay, so we might run it again because super popular in demand. Okay, so I love this because it's sort of a build-up of a system that we use in church to work on how we handle people in this community. Okay, it's an upgrade from the Tim LaHaye series, a very simple framework. Okay, now I love DISC, I love MBTI, Enneagram, all those stuff, but this one I find to be the fastest and easiest for self-awareness building and easiest for you to immediately apply to your friendship. So one of the fun things when I do this workshop, right, is to see straight after that, even during the break and 5 minutes later, everyone's talking and assessing their friendships and relationships with each other because they can understand it. They can know how to use it easily, okay? So this is a great one. Go read that book. The other book I have to recommend is The 5 Love Languages, and now the new one, The 5 Apology Languages, which you guys got to do the questionnaires over the series. How many of you have fun with that? Yes. How many of you can remember your top love language? How many of you, your love language has changed over the years? Yes. I think especially those who have kids, right? Your love language has changed to acts of service, okay? How many of you, your apology language was the one that surprised you? Okay, next book that I want to share with you is Platonic and Attached. Now, if you don't know this, in psychology, there's a framework called attachment style, and that is all of us have a certain way we behave in relationships, a tendency, okay? So, for example, some of us may be anxious attachment style, and that means the moment you find somebody or a friend, you cling, and you're a little bit needy, you're afraid of being abandoned, okay? And then you can be very overwhelming to someone who is, let's say, the attachment style is avoidant attachment style, which is they're very cool, they don't like to be overly needed, you know, and they run when people seem too needy for their attention, okay? And then, of course, the ideal that everybody wants to work towards this is secure attachment style. Okay, where we're secure in ourselves and we're secure in our relationship. It's okay if people don't want to be our best friend, we'll just make it work and we can healthily move on. Still will hurt sometimes, but it will healthily move on. Okay, so I got 2 great books to recommend. Actually, I find this a little bit, a bit roundabout in the way it's talked about, and I actually prefer this. Okay, she's a lot more clearer with tools. So I really want to encourage you, both are applicable, all the principles are the same, right? You just have to cross-apply it to relationships versus friendships. Okay, so this is really good. I really, really recommend this for young adults, especially if you're going out into the working place, you're in your 20s and 30s, and you're finding it hard to make friends. Just to assure you, actually that is very normal. It's been researched. That is way easier for children to bond on the playground through constant interaction at school. But for adults, right, it actually is possible to go to work and be in interaction with everybody every day and feel more and more lonely because you can't connect. It is normal. Then they never say it is normal. So it feels like in your 20s and 30s making friends is hard. It's normal, okay? And so it's important to have some tools to help you out with that, okay? So read that book. That's great, okay? Now the last one is Fight Right. And this is the one that I'm going to base most of my teaching for you today, okay? And hopefully, some of the stuff I have distilled and summarized for you are going to be very simple and applicable for you to immediately apply in your life. Can? Okay, all good? Okay, so go read those books. Awesome. All right, so quick recap. For the last 5 sessions, we've talked about the 5 C's checklist. When it comes to making friendships, when it comes to vetting your relationships that you potentially want to be with this person, okay? So we broke down the 5 C's and spent actually a lot of time in the realm of character, which is the most important thing you need to look at when you're looking to date someone or to have close friends in your life. Character, okay? When there is character, life becomes a lot more stable and a lot easier. When there's no character, you'll find life is very unpredictable and frustrating. Okay, so we went through the 5 C's. I'm not going to go into it in detail. Go ask your friend, beg them, borrow, steal. Okay, there are resources. It's really very good stuff, okay? Now, today we're going to take a step higher, okay, and assume that if all the foundational stuff we talked about, more or less, character, convictions, and some of them bleed into compatibility and commitment, if all these things are settled, all right, then what is it that you still need to keep your relationship healthy and productive. Okay, is that all right? So I want to introduce you to a new simple framework that I use very often in our church for leadership training, for communication with handling people, okay, for work life, all that. And it's the 4 building blocks of emotional intelligence. Okay, so they are, and this is the simplest form of the AI framework, okay, self-awareness, self-regulation, everyone says self. Okay, and then social awareness, that means how you understand people and read people, and social skills, how you interact with people. Okay, so today we're talking about getting good at communication and negotiation, learning how to connect with people and learning how to handle conflicts well. Okay, and we're going to base some of it on this and also on the tools that I'm going to give you. Okay, so any of you here have been in a fight before? A quarrel? Yes? Don't need to be yelled, don't need to be slapped, can be Cold War. Okay? Ever felt so angry and frustrated with the other person that you just don't know what to do? Any of you ever had to apologize before? Very softer, huh? Okay? Any of you have lost a friendship because you didn't know how to communicate with that person at that point of time? Okay? How many of you have ever withdrawn in a relationship because at the time you couldn't figure out what your needs were and how to express those needs and how to get that person to compromise and succeed together with you? Had that before? We've all been there, right? In some way or form. So here's the good news, right? Communicating and negotiating conflict is a skill that we all need to develop. And there are tools that you can learn and apply that you need in order to cultivate a deep friendship. You need in order to maintain the sense of trust and belonging with somebody in a relationship. You need it for friendships and relationships to have longevity. Okay? Sometimes, right, here's what I find. You can do all these 5 things really well, right? The first vetting process. Okay? But then, after that, not know how to hold it together long term because under crisis, or in multiple conflicts, connection, the middle piece, right, which is the glue that holds everything together, the fuel that fuels your commitment, that makes you focus on, hey, we are compatible, we have things that we complement each other. You know, the stuff that is like, hey, you know, we trust each other in character, we know that we have the same convictions, values, and vision and direction that we're going in life. You know, all that starts to break down when connection breaks down. Okay, so connection at the end of the day is still sort of the soul and longevity of a relationship. And so we need to learn how to do that well. And I want to start today by giving you one macro framework, okay? And that's the 4 components that make up emotional intelligence. Now, there are, of course, many other versions and frameworks academically. There's one that I use for leadership training that has 5 instead of 4. But for today, this is sufficient, okay? So, emotional intelligence. So, let's do a little bit of self-assessment today, okay? So, when it comes to communication and negotiation, there are many layers at play. But essentially, how good you are at connecting with somebody is heavily dependent on how good you are in these 4 areas, how developed and mature you are in these 4 areas, okay? So in simple terms, our ability to communicate and negotiate well depends on how well you know yourself first, self-awareness, how well you can manage yourself, that is self-regulation, how well you empathize with others, that means your social awareness, can you read that they also have needs? And maybe your friend is not doing okay, and how you engage with them well in order to have a win-win situation, okay? Social skills, social regulation in the way that you quarrel, for example, okay? So actually, really, that's it. So much of what you need to solution yourself, your mental and emotional health, your relational health, comes down to those 4 building blocks, okay? Now, for example, a lot of us here have certain natural tendencies that are rooted in your background, in your childhood, in your personality. Okay, for example, how you were brought up. If you were brought up in a very difficult background at home, your nervous system and your brain is constantly in high alert, right? then you're likely to be a kid that sometimes is highly regulated. Not self-aware, but highly regulated in terms of you will control yourself to keep the peace in the home. Right? You will have skills to manage the abusive parents so that, you don't get hurt. But you're very out of tune with your own emotions and your needs. Okay, but you grew up in a very stable home where your parents talked about feelings and emotions a lot, then it could go one or two ways, right? You will be maybe quite self-aware, but maybe your parents are the very anything goes, do anything you want. You want to throw tantrum, it's okay. Then you have very low regulation. But if you have a parent that say, okay, it's okay to feel your feelings, but let me give you some tools, say breathe, and you must understand that not everything can go your way all the time, right? Then as a child, you will learn how to self-regulate. You will learn how to negotiate with the people that you are with, okay? So unfortunately, right, we cannot change our starting point in life. Our genetics, our brain, our background, our upbringing, maybe our past relationships and hurts that we encountered, patterns that we develop, okay? But the good news is, whatever your starting point is, you can use this to work with what you have. And to help you take a step back and pause and say, okay, maybe right now in this relationship, I may be the one that needs to make some changes because maybe my emotions right now are out of regulation. Maybe I'm going through something and I'm not quarreling well because I'm too, escalated. Are you with me? Maybe my social skills need work. Maybe my partner keeps saying, why are you always so accusing? Why do you always want to pick a fight, but your partner wants to calmly talk? Then you go, okay, you know what? I need some training in social skills. So you don't need to worry about what you don't have. You just have to be concerned with developing what you do have and keep growing. Okay, so let's do a quick exercise without overthinking, okay? Because I got no time to deep dive. We just don't overthink, and I just want you to write whatever comes to your mind. Is that okay? So what I want you to do is for each of these categories on your paper, okay, I want you to score yourself a 0.5. Okay, don't need a 0.10. Because I know a 0.10, some of the melancholics here will go crazy. A 0.5, okay? Just how many stars? 3.5 stars, a 0.5, like Google rating, all right? Okay, firstly, how well self-awareness do you feel you know yourself? Okay, just right now in this moment. Don't need to think overall, the last 40, 30 years, first 10 years, no, first 20 years, no, just today. Okay, how well do you feel in this moment that you know yourself? Okay, what do you know of your identity? Who you are, what you are like as a person. How many personality tests you have done? You can also write it down, okay? You can write down, I'm a sanguine, I'm an INTJ, whatever you want, okay? If you know your attachment style, what is my attachment style in a relationship, in a friendship? Okay, with my parents, I don't know. Okay, what's your love language, apology style? What is my passion, my purpose? What am I struggling with? Okay, so just write all that down, rate it a 0.5, and then write whatever you need to write down. Okay? Can I do the next one? Yes. Okay, now, second box, self-regulation, okay? How are you doing right now with your self-regulation life? A 0.5. And I give you permission to peep at your friend's paper. Because some of you right now are going, I'm a 5, but your friend is next to you looking over, go, no, maybe you're a 3. Then maybe you need to go back and rescore your self-awareness. Can? Okay? Now, those of you that are overthinking this, don't overthink, okay? How do I know? What am I grading by? Just instinctually put something, all right? It could be your motivation level. It could be your discipline. You see, naturally, you're going to think of the thing that you're struggling with the most right now, okay? Your motivation, your discipline, your mental, emotional health, your ability right now to overcome negative emotions, your attitude. Are you feeling positive about life or are you soldiering on? Just jot something down, okay? Now, in addition, if your score is low today, all right, that's okay, normal, all right? I want you to write down why. Okay, and if you are the kind find it very hard to dig up your emotions, right? So just start by labeling the emotion. Are you tired? Are you unsatisfied? Are you lonely? Okay, then once you have those written down, right, then ask yourself one more time, why are you tired? Why are you lonely? Why are you, is it some situation you're going through? Is it a rough patch at work? Okay, I want you to write it down. Okay, or some of you here, do I need more quiet time with God, more prayer time, more exercise? Write it all down, okay? Enough time? Okay, congratulations. You are now 1 degree more self-aware than you were when you first walked in. Okay? Now, listen, you see, there's a science, right, in this process that I'm making you do. You see, journaling sometimes, it's not about finding a right answer or scoring yourself correctly, but journaling is taking all the mess and the emotions in here that are swirling around, putting it on paper down, and then calming your nervous system down so you can think straight. So, can I tell you, the moment you do this, immediately, right, you are calmer. You will engage with someone more logically than overly emotionally, okay? Okay, so you automatically started to regulate your system, Ken? Okay, now the next thing, just quickly jot down, can I go move on to the next 2 boxes, right? What can you do about how you're feeling? What can you do about what's frustrating you? Just jot 1 or 2 things down. We don't need to answer fully the question today. Okay? Okay, ready for the next part? All right, next box. Now, rate your ability to understand and empathize with people. Okay, now I let you choose today whether you want to pick a situation or relationship you are in to answer that question, or you want to just overall rate your performance as a human being. Okay? 5. What is your ability to understand and empathize with other people and how they do things and how they feel about things and how they see situations? Okay? Are you good at picking out social cues at work? Are you good at paying attention to people's emotions on their face even if they're hiding it? Okay? Can? Okay, number 4, rate your social skills right now, overall as a human being. And however you want to rate it also, are you good at making conversation? Are you very calm when there's conflict? Okay, so those 2 boxes are just going to be general and broad, all right? Okay? Okay, so we've done. Okay. So let me tell you how sometimes I use frameworks like this, okay? So sometimes I rate myself overall as a person. Like maybe, I'm in leadership right now, so maybe once a year I'll sit down, I'll write down, and I'll take a look, how am I doing with my natural tendencies and how am I doing developing better awareness as a person, as a leader? How am I operating under stress? Sometimes, if I'm in a very stressful situation, I'll sit down, do this, right, to remind myself I'm reacting badly because my resiliency isn't there. Okay? So that I take things down a notch, okay? Sometimes I use this to have a conversation with myself. Sometimes I use it to recognize that something may be off in my life. Something is not feeling good and it's affecting the other areas of my life. Okay? Or maybe I'm overcompensating in a relationship and I want to restructure my boundaries with someone that I'm interacting with. So I need to change my social skills pattern. Okay? So the bottom line though is good communication and negotiation in relationships, right, starts with an awareness of how you are functioning in these 4 areas. So the more you know yourself, the more you can identify what you need. The more you are able to identify what you need, the easier it is for you to regulate and express what you need to the other person. The more you're able to pay attention and empathize with somebody else's identity and somebody else's need, the less you are going to quarrel trying to win, but really going, okay, we need to meet in the middle. And the more skills you have with communicating that, the better your outcomes will be when you are communicating or fighting with somebody. Okay, now provided the other party also doing their part, okay? Can? Okay, so just 1 verse for you to start off today, right? Amos 3 3 to 7 says, will 2 people walk together unless they have agreed to do so? The Message Bible version says, do 2 people walk hand in hand if they aren't going to the same place? Okay, now you can read these verses as a statement about needing to share the same values and vision in life, which we talked about with the 5 C's. But you can also stretch it to go, hey, we need some common ground. We need some common tools that we both know how to use. We need some common goals for our friendship and relationship interactions. Okay? Because at the end of the day, right, communication and negotiation is not for one person to win. It's for both people to come together. It's for friends and spouses to work towards the same place in the health of that relationship. All right? Okay, so we're not going to be a theoretical class today. We're going to get straight into the tools and get practical, okay? So, clinical psychologist Dr. Julie Schwartz Gottman and her husband, researcher Dr. John Gottman. Now, these guys are award-winning practitioners and scientists who have researched relationships for over 50 years, okay? They've won multiple awards, published over 250 academic articles, and between them, they have 50 books, many of which have become New York Times bestsellers, okay? So it's their research and tools that I'm going to share with you today to help your relationships. So first thing, there is no one particular model of a friendship or relationship that determines whether 2 people stay connected. No particular mix of certain personalities. No particular style of communication even, or love language or apology style. And not even how often or how little you fight determines the success of a relationship. So all the old models you had in your head before that, if I'm a male, I must go and find a sanguine to get attached to. If I'm a choleric, I would like being around a phlegmatic, throw all that out the window. Okay, because they found in their research and their scientific studies that it is not the case. There's no one picture, there's no one model, there's no one kind of certain personality. Also doesn't matter what background you came from. Okay, and actually it boils down to how people communicate and negotiate that determines whether their interactions create more intimacy and trust or less. Is that good news? Are some of you feeling better about yourself? Are you recognizing that maybe the problem is not you, but it could be the interaction? Okay, so learning to navigate and fight well is one of the most important life skills, life-changing skills that you can acquire. You see, you got to understand this. All of us want connection and intimacy. But when you are with people day in, day out in your life, can I tell you, intimacy will inevitably lead to conflict. But conflict, listen, is good because it has the potential to create deeper connection if you move through it well. Okay, so remember this today. Conflict is connection. Conflict is connection. So this is what they write in their book, Fight Right, right? Conflict is how we figure out who we are, what we want, who our friends and partners are becoming, and what they want. It's how we bridge our differences and find similarities, our points of connection. Okay? Now, what's the problem though? The problem is most of us don't know how to fight well. There is no conflict 101 when we are in primary school. We basically get whatever we believe about conflict from our childhood, our upbringing, our patterns of what was modeled for us at home, what our teachers did when we got into a fight at school, right? And we collect responses, we collect reactions, we collect patterns, and then we move on to adulthood and we just feel our way through arguments, feel our way through tension, feel our way through grudges with each other, and we think we know EQ because we follow so many Instagram self-help blogs, right? But most of the time, right, we're all pretty far off. Okay, we nurse resentments for too long. We get into confrontations far too harshly with negativity and criticism. And even when we're the quiet, non-confrontational kind, we avoid. We distance. We think that is having no conflict, but actually it's conflict. We get too defensive. We use accusing language. You. We miss or reject attempts by our friends to repair quarrels because, maybe you're the kind, you want remorse expressed, but the other person thought that they're doing the right thing by trying to show you that they're quietly changing. Okay? Or some of us here, we apologize too quickly because we want the fight to be over quickly. So we ignore past fights, hoping that they'll just disappear, but the hurt is still there, causing distance, and the void keeps filling up with the things we don't say to each other. Yes. So John and Julie Gottman, managed to study and record the anatomy of communication relationships. Yes. They coded gestures, recorded smiles, sighs, pauses, body language, tone of voice, words, and they hooked their subjects up to biofeedback devices to measure their heart rate, how much they're sweating, any micro reactions. Everyone, and this thing, they study everyone from straight couples to gay couples to lesbian couples to wealthy people to below average income people, race, gender, sexual orientation, every kind. Yes. And they actually managed to collect all that data and predict with 90% accuracy which relationship would stay together and which would not, just based on the first 3 minutes of how a couple would fight. Yes. 90% accurately, by 6 years later, what would happen to that couple? Okay? So, understand this. All of us have what we call a primary conflict style. Yes. All relationships between two people have a conflict style. Okay, so in the 1960s, Harold Rush, a biologist who taught at the University of Massachusetts, he recruited 96 couples and documented their lives, broke down conversation, analyzed conflict, sequenced the flow of their conflicts, and he came to the conclusion that there were 3 kinds of couple interactions. The first kind is what we call the avoidant couple. Rarely talks about any disagreement, prefers to move on quickly. Okay? Don't talk even better. Some do like to talk. They will just skim through the feelings, say, okay, and then bye. Okay, avoiders. Second kind of couples were the volatile communication style. Means they like to get into heated disagreement, high emotion debate, but they also had a lot of positivity and humor. So they'll fight, and then someone will make a joke, and then they will both laugh. Okay? And the last kind were the validators, okay? Who disagree but accept each other's influence and they work on a compromise. So this guy in the 1960s, maybe data not so good, he concluded in his study that validators were the Goldilocks, the perfect model of a successful relationship. Now, when John Gottman began to do his research and based some of it on his work, what he found, however, was that in reality, all 3 kinds of relationship pairings had just as good of a shot at staying together. Okay, but what it came down to were, number 2, there is a ratio of positive to negative interactions in a successful relationship, whatever your conflict style is. Okay? So he found that the ratio is actually this, okay? When you are fighting, in the middle of a fight, the ratio of positive to negative interactions must be 5:1. Okay? And when not fighting, the ratio goes up even higher. You need 20 positive interactions to offset 1 negative interaction. Okay? And this was the ideal benchmark for all the successful couples. Okay? So that means, I break it down for you again, just to flesh it out, all right? So for every 1 negative interaction you and your partner have or your friend have in a fight, like a biting comment, an eye roll, a raised voice, a dismissive tone, or a defensive comment or gesture, or a scoff or mocking laugh, you need 5 positive interactions to balance out that negativity. And this is within conflict itself. Outside of conflict in day-to-day life, the ratio goes to 21. So for every negative interaction or comment, you need 20 positive ones. Appreciation, connection, turning towards them to listen, complimenting them, okay? Other ones include an apology, a nod, empathizing, a reassuring touch, validating, yes, I hear you, and I understand how you feel. Emphasizing what we have in common. Owning your responsibility for your part. I'm sorry, that was my fault. Saying, good point, or fair enough, a joke or laughter, pointing out what you do right, recalling your past successes in a conflict. I see that you did this before. What I'm asking for is just in this moment I have this need. But I recognize how much effort you've been putting on all along. Okay? So, what can we glean from this 5 to 1, 20 to 1? Listen, positive and negative interactions are not created equal. And they don't balance out easily. You need 5 positive interactions or 20 positive interactions just to offset the impact of that one moment of negativity. Okay? So just take a moment to pause, right? Okay, and digest. You know, are you in a relationship right now where this is a problem? And you're sort of feeling more distant than you need to be, more grudging than you need to be, more frustrated than you need to be because you're not regulating the positivity with the negativity. Or are you in a relationship where your partner is a problem and they cannot stop themselves, right? Then listen, it's not boding well for this relationship. Okay? So to begin to even learn how to fight well, you must start by identifying your personal, individual conflict style. Okay? So right now, right, just very quickly, circle the conflict style that you think is actually you. You can change it later if you're not sure, okay? But just circle the one that you think is you. Okay? Are you an avoidant? Okay? Now, I elaborate a little bit, right? You know, avoidance there are 2 kinds, okay? The first type of avoidant is when anyone asks you to comment, right? Any issues you are having in a friendship or relationship, you panic, you go, oh, I can't think of one. And then you zao. Okay, you know, in fact, in the experiment, it's quite funny, right? When they were getting avoidant couples, that means 2 avoidants, right? To, you know, they hook them up the machine and ask them to express their feelings, any needs of unhappiness that they have in the relationship, right? Any stress. They were like, couldn't think. Blank. Okay, and then they had to go through 15, 20 minutes of cycling through a list of, you know, have they done anything this way, didn't do the dishes, and then finally hit one, and then the blood pressure go up a little bit, like, oh, got one, elaborate. And then they pull teeth trying to get them to elaborate. Okay, first type of avoidance, Ken? Okay, the second kind of avoidance, right, they do talk about their feelings. So they'll sit down, they'll talk about their feelings, yeah, I feel this way, yeah, I feel this way, and then, okay, moving on. Very short-lived conversation, okay? But actually, right, government found out of all the kinds of avoidance, the second type were the happiest avoidant relationships because at least got some expression of emotion. Okay? Now, volatiles, on the other hand, were the other way. Their relationships, right, are energized by conflict. It's high tension. But they also, now, again, we're not talking about hostile attention, okay? But they also tend to display humor and positivity. So they will argue, like, you are the children, They say, yeah lah, but you know, the peppers are going to change, right? Then they will burst out laughing. Okay? So that is also a way of conflict, and it's okay. Okay, so that's a volatile. Now, when people were in such homogeneous pairings, right, avoidant couples, right, tend to have a lot of, you will notice they'll have a lot of division and segregation in their lives. So what they found when they study avoidant couples, if you go to their home, right, you know, chores are clearly divided. He do this, she do that. They do this, they do that. Okay? And they tend to have sections in the house, parts of the house where one belongs to this person, the other belongs to that person, and they don't cross too much into each other's boundaries. Okay? But when people were in volatile pairings, okay, volatile and volatile, right, they found that they had the least segregation, a lot of overlap of responsibilities. Like halfway, I changed my halfway, can you grab that? And then they're like, one big mess, the house. Funny, oh. Actually sounds like a phlegmatic relationship and a sanguine relationship. You know what I'm saying? Okay? Now, last one, validator, okay? So validators are the ones that are okay to disagree, but they want to talk it out. They want to listen to each other's side and work on a compromise together. So validators take a teammate approach to relationships. So when the fight gets heated, you find it very funny, the automatic thing is to, okay, white flag, we take a break. Veto for 5 minutes. Okay, to calm the situation down, okay? So whereas like avoidance, right, don't want to feel any emotion, too much emotion, validators are only okay with a certain amount of emotion, they must stop already. But volatiles are like, high emotion, yeah! Okay? So each conflict style needs to recognize their strengths and their pitfalls. Yes. So generally, avoidant pairings have very stable friendship, but they need to watch out for emotional drift and distance, where suddenly they wake up one day and they don't recognize each other and they feel like they're living with a roommate. Yes. Okay, they will tend to have too many shallow fights without ever addressing the growing issues underneath until everything breaks down in crisis. Validator pairings can be so focused on a solution that they forget about positivity, humor, and connection in the middle of that relationship. Okay, volatiles, they have to be careful not to veer too much into getting too sarcastic or criticizing and then hurting the other person unnecessarily. Okay? Now, there's a fourth conflict style, and that is the hostile conflict style. Or hostile detached, also got two types like the avoidant, okay? So you may think that these are the people who look like negative volatiles. All right? But actually what they found is hostile and hostile detached tend to look more like validators than volatiles. Okay? Now, if you are the volatile kind of hostile, okay? Hostiles are the accusers. You always, you never, and they treat the person with contempt, disdain, everything also defensive, everything won't change. Okay, this is veering into what we talked about previous weeks, right? Red flag territory. Okay? While hostile detached, right, they just don't even bother arguing. They're so tired already, just whatever. They turn away. They detach. They get defensive, show black face, and they walk away. Okay? So eventually, right, this fourth style tends to exhibit what he calls the four horsemen. Are y'all familiar with this term? The four horsemen of the apocalypse that signals the end of the world. Okay, so Gottman's, right, they call this four horsemen behavior, okay? Criticism, contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling. Okay, ignoring you, stonewalling, all right? Okay, when a relationship becomes like that, you better hurry ahead into therapy. If you are with a partner like that, you might be in danger of living either they are really, really emotionally unhealthy and they need help, or you marry a red flag. Okay? So, let's ask the question again. How many avoidance do we have here? Just individual, okay? How many avoidance do we have here? Raise hands. Be honest. Okay? How many validators do we have here? How many volatiles? Okay? So where are we going with this? How you process conflict may not be how your friend or your partner processes conflict. Okay? So here we go, point number 3. When you don't have the same conflict style as your partner, this is what we call a meta-emotion mismatch, which is a recipe for misunderstandings. Okay? So meta-emotion is basically how we feel about feelings. When there's a mismatch, two people hold different beliefs about how emotions should be expressed and handled. Okay, I repeat. Meta-emotion is how we feel about feelings. How we think people should feel about feelings. How we think we should process our feelings. Okay? And when there's a mismatch, two people hold different beliefs about this, then listen, this is where misunderstandings happen. So when two people are the same, right, the therapy and tools help they need is how to get over the pros and cons of being two people with the same style. But when two people are mismatched, you got to do an extra layer of understanding how that person processes emotions, then create tools. Following? Okay? So this is the reason why very often we have so much unresolved conflict in friendships and relationships. Basically, you have a different perspective about how you feel. You have a certain way of wanting to engage and expressing how you feel. And your friend or partner opposite you doesn't process the way you do. So you fight, get angry, one person run, one person chase, or both people get offended, and then your relationship breaks down. Okay? Yeah, so for example, right, let's say one friend is the kind tends to shut down and stonewall in a relationship, in a conflict. But the other person wants to argue and feels iced out when rejected by the first person's refusal to fight. Can you relate? That is an example of an avoider and volatile relationship. Good. Okay, you're following me, all right? There's a mismatch. So they are going to have to learn each other's style if they want to be happy. Because volatiles are looking for passion, engagement. So to a volatile and avoider, right, when they stonewall, right, they feel very rejected and they feel like the person doesn't care and is not invested in the relationship. But really for the avoider, in the moment, they are panicking. Too much emotion, they feel cornered and overwhelmed. And so they run. Okay, not at all what the volatile thinks. And then they're going, you are so accusatory, you are so messy, that kind of thing. But actually, it's just the way they engage. Okay, so here's the thing. Across 40,000 couples in our international study, this was a huge one. 83% of heterosexual couples were experiencing issues due to a meta-emotion mismatch. Followed closely behind by gay couples, 77%, and lesbian couples, 73%. So majority of us, right, any friendship or any relationship, we are going to be in relationship with somebody who is different from us. Okay? So if you are struggling in a relationship or a friendship, listen, if you are a validator, you're always going to want to sort things out. But someone who's avoidant is going to want to disengage. If you are a validator, you may feel overwhelmed by a volatile partner because they're so high emotion and they seem to be not logical in the argument, but you're like logical. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Right? And then the more you step 1, step 2, the more angry the volatile gets. Right? And then they may start to turn mean-spirited, which is so contrary to a validator who is like, no, don't need to be mean, be calm. Right? So sometimes it's not that there's something significant that you are fighting about. Again, barring red flags, I need to emphasize this, okay? I'm not talking about hostile and hostile detached right now. Okay, but sometimes it's not that something is wrong, that something is significantly wrong, it's how you are fighting. The mismatch is making the misunderstanding way more serious than it needs to be. Okay? So are you following me today that self-awareness isn't that easy? You see, even the way I watch some of you raise your hands, I'm like, you don't know which conflict style you are. Right? It's hard to be self-aware. Okay? So here's the thing. Can you change your conflict style? Yes, but it's hard. Most of us, we will default to our personality and the way that we were raised. But can you move towards someone else's conflict structure to understand them, empathize, and meet in the middle and communicate in a way that they can understand? Definitely. Okay, so for example, for me, right, I probably was somewhat more avoidant when I was younger. I won't say fully avoidant, okay? Because of circumstances, I just became more avoidant, all right? But inside, got feelings, okay? So not 100% avoidant. Avoidants don't even want to have feelings sometimes, okay? But my mom, on the other hand, was a volatile, right? So me and her, when we were young, right, would get into fights, right, and a lot of misunderstanding. And my dad, being a very strong validator, okay, would get caught in between. Okay? But he was a very smart validator, all right? So he would make us take a break. Everybody stop, go to your own corner, right? Then I remember one very bad fight, right? Then he wrote me an email, okay, to explain, and talk, to let me calm down and let me feel that I'm understood. Okay? No confrontation, no face-to-face talk, right? Immediate face-to-face talk, I'm like, no. Right, okay? But then for my mom, he took her out to lunch her, dine her, and then talk. And immediately validate her emotions. Okay? Smart, right? Correct? So today, am I still avoidant? No, I probably actually land more validator by nature. Okay? Way more validator. And sometimes, right, it can really annoy people on a team who are high emotion. Because I'm like, okay, take a breath. Calm down. Then don't ask me to calm down. Okay? Are you here with me? Or even, when I want to solve a problem, I go dig out, I go and talk to the avoider, like, hey, need to do that. Then they're like, no, scared. Are you here? Okay? So you got to understand what people need in order to help people come together. Okay, following? Okay, so number 4, next thing. Every conflict has a structure. Okay? Every conflict has a structure. This is good news. You can hack it. All right? See what gets me excited in life? Okay? So every conflict has a 3-part structure. Agenda, persuasion, compromise. One day, okay, you just go record. Even if you're an avoider, just go record your conversation and you'll know there's a 3-part structure. Okay? So agenda is when one or both come to the table and express their concerns. Hey, the dishes are not done. Okay? Then after that, there's persuasion. Okay? Other partner says, yeah, I didn't have time just now, I was busy. Then the person says, I'm taking care of the kids, so somebody needs to get it done, right? And so they start to persuade each other to come over to each other's side. This one is saying, give me more time. The other one is saying, get it done now. Correct? Yes. Persuasion. All right? Yeah. And then if you follow through, you will go into compromise mode, right? Fine, when can you get it done? Let me finish dinner first. Compromise. Got it? Can follow? Okay, either they reach common ground or they take turns to move forward in, let's say, larger arguments. Either moving overseas to work, taking turns to who gets to follow their promotion first. Okay? So here's what tends to happen, okay? Avoiders tend to stop at agenda. No attempt to even persuade. So I tell you, even working with a lot of times avoiders are phlegmatics, okay? So, sometimes, right, I'm always working with a phlegmatic, right, on a project, right? I will question and ask them, okay, and I'm just asking questions to understand, right, the procedures. So if we do this, what happens after that? And the moment I say, so if we do this, option A, this happens, option B, they immediately think, oh, so CJ, you want to go with option B? And they'll just not even, they'll just assume we go option B, even though they came in proposing option A. I just explain to me the pros and cons of option B. Oh, option B. Are you following? Yeah. Okay, now no, I'm not asking you to go with option B. I'm asking you what is the pros and cons of option B. So I can tell you which one to go for. But then I'm like, actually, I think option A is better. Go with that, okay? So they will come in with agenda, but stop short there. No persuasion, no compromise, okay, nothing. Got me? Okay, now volatile people, however, start with persuasion. I think this is the best thing. I think this is what we should do. And then when I question, why you question me? Are you following me? Because, and listen, it's not even rebellious, it's just they're in persuasion mode. I think this is the best. I want to understand what are the options. Okay, and then persuade. And then either, they have to give in because I'm the boss. Okay, or sometimes I will compromise with them. I'll let them do what they want, okay? So, there's the volatile. They start at persuasion. They want immediate engagement. Validators, however, will lay out the issues first. They will build an agenda, but sometimes move too quickly to persuasion. Right? They will come and they will have all the options laid out, but actually they want this. So they come in and they'll lay out all the options and hope that they can push you to this. Hope lah, but they won't push all the way lah, but they hope. Okay, can? So, for example, 2 friends want to go on holiday. Okay, 2 validators, okay? One person wants to go on a short trip because XYZ. Other person wants to go on a long trip because XYZ. And both of them pick different countries. Okay? So both of them will come, express their concerns and agenda. I want short trip and I want to hear. I want long trip, I want to hear. This is why. Okay? Then after that, they will move into persuasion. Because, I feel I really need a very long break. And the person will say, I don't have mind space to take a long break. I don't want to plan a holiday. Right? So what happened? Persuasion. Okay? Then they will talk, and at the end of the day, depending who is more dominant or who is more submitted, or who is more, whatever, okay? Right? Eventually, they will either compromise, or one person will give in, or they will drop the idea. Following? Simple structure of conflict, right? Can follow, Okay. So, these are simple things. But what happens when it's a big conflict? Okay, so there are two kinds of conflicts people have. What we call the solvable conflict and what we call the perpetual conflict. Okay, so solvable fights are examples that I gave you just now. Very simple, very easy, can solve one problem. After you solve the problem, the conflict is over. Correct? Okay, so perpetual fights, on the other end, are a whole different animal. Now, some perpetual fights, right, got no solution. It's a tension that just needs to be managed. So, for example, right, women and men. You can have a very, very, very supportive partner, correct? But at the end of the day, when you have children, there's a component of having children that is just very jialat for a woman. You carry the baby for 9 months, your body breaks down after that, changes dramatically, right? And then the child can go to the father for milk, cannot what? Unless the two of you agree that you will formula feed the child. Then can be equal. Correct? Okay, so some perpetual fights, right, are kind of like passing perpetual fights. Okay? That you need to manage. However, a lot of times perpetual fights are actually more serious because they are over issues that don't go away. That you end up fighting about over and over again. Now, distinguish, listen, again, I am talking within healthy relationships. I'm not talking about relationship with a hostile or a narcissist. Because a hostile or a narcissist will keep it in a perpetual fight that you will never be able to find a compromise about. Okay? Got it? So what's a perpetual fight? Perpetual fights involve deeper differences, which if you had done the 5 C's properly, you shouldn't be getting too far into. Okay? So, this, differences in personality, that is your compatibility. Differences in priorities, that is your values, your convictions, your beliefs. Okay? These will always be there, even if you are in a stable relationship. Because you don't fall in love with your clone. You don't bring friends into your life who are just your mirror image. Okay? So here's what they found in research. 69% of your conflicts will be perpetual. Okay, look at the friend across from you, look at the spouse across from you. Think about your spouse right now, you hear me? Okay, and face reality. So that you can go and solve your reality. Are you hearing me? 70% of the little you have with them is not solvable, it will be perpetual. Accept it. Okay? Even in a good relationship. So that means that most of the time, right, the things you fight about with somebody, your best friend, people in church, people in your team, 70% has no solution. And of this 69 professional conflict, right, only 16% will become gridlocked. Okay? So this is good news. Out of the 69%, you take it back up to 100, only 16% will be gridlocked where the relationship might break up. Okay, so if you are thinking right now, you're very heightened emotion, I'm so angry, I'm in the gridlock situation, you're probably not. Because only 16% is a gridlock situation. You're actually probably too hyped up right now. Okay? And when it's gridlocked, it is always one of 3 issues. Or actually, you know what, all relationships, okay, so just make sure you write it down properly because I think the way I put it on the paper, it comes off wrong, okay? So of all these perpetual conflicts, right, it usually boils down to one of 3 things that you're really fighting about. One is you're fighting about values. You're fighting about what is love, what is community, what is home, what does belonging feel like? What does it mean for me to be there for you as a friend? What does it mean for you to be there for me as a friend? What are our priorities in life? So when you quarrel about all the small things, little things, big things, all those things, actually it's down to the layer of values. You're really fighting about values, not those things. You're fighting about unrecognized needs. I need support. I need understanding. I need you to say sorry properly. I need you to make restitution. I need this to feel more mutual and equal. I may be carrying the baby, but I need you then to take more load so that I can rest. I need time. I also want to succeed in career. I need emotional security from you, and you flirting with people does not fly for me. Are you here with me? Yes. But for some people, they don't care. So, okay, I trust you. Are you here with me? Yeah. I need financial security. Yeah. And the way you do finances makes me worry for our family. Yeah. Okay, unrecognized needs. Hidden dreams. What are my hopes and dreams? Both for now and for the future. What is my life purpose? What's my reason for being here on this earth? Okay, I always love this, right? Last time when I asked Xing Xiang, what's important to you when you marry a person? And the first thing he said to me, without thinking, he said, the person better be very okay with me giving my money to charity. If they're not okay, no go. Because this is important to my life purpose. Right? Because can you imagine if two people marry each other, right? One person wants to be generous, one person wants to give to charity, and the other person is like, no, I want to hoard money, I want to do all these other things, I want to spend on unnecessary things. You think they can get along? They will fight every time they click the button on giving SG. Are you with me? Every time this person buy, I don't know what's cool and branded to buy now. I'm so bad at these things. Buy a Lamborghini. This person, normal car cannot. BYD quite cool. Are you here? Yes. And then they fight. So all perpetual conflict is about one of these three things. Okay? And if it's very serious, it can get gridlocked. And the relationship will separate. Okay? So because there's a disconnect between what you desire and what you are experiencing in that relationship. And in the heat of the conflict, when you guys are fighting, right? The question really actually all boils down to this, which you answered during the Cahoots questionnaire just now. It boils down to, can I trust you? Yeah. Can I trust you to have my best interests at heart? Yeah. Or is it all about you? Can I trust you to be kind to me right now, even though you are angry and I recognize you are a volatile personality. Yes. I am an avoidant. I recognize that I'm feeling trapped by you. But can I trust you to be kind to me the way I'm trying to be kind to you and engage with you? Yeah. Can I trust you to treat me with respect during this conversation and relationship? Yeah. Can I trust you to be my teammate even though we're disagreeing? Or am I making all the compromises all the time? Yeah. Okay, so that's why the next session we'll talk about culture, right? There's so many things in culture, right? We just take it in, right? We don't realize that it's subconsciously affecting our relationships. Yes. Like statements, and here's the thing, it cuts both ways, right? It's quite funny, right? Because people will just use it forever that they want in life, right? So women will say, my husband's money is my money, right? Husbands will joke, yeah, she is always right, right? But do you realize that's a really bad way to frame your relationship? That means one person always wins, the other person always loses, Then if you go to patriarchal men, right, men should submit to women. I grew up, my mother cooked and did the laundry, right? Yeah. And then women in church go, church teach us this, so we should follow, right? Yeah. Then guess what? Somebody is always winning and the other person is always losing. Yes. Are you here with me? Yeah. That's not trust. Okay? So listen, human beings are made to dream. We're made to desire, and I recognize this is a very first world theology because sometimes I wonder, when you're growing up poor and just starving to death, whether you can even engage with the gospel. Yeah. Are you here with me? Yes. But in the ideal sense, human beings are made to dream. I would say maybe if you're poor, then your ability to dream gets limited. Yeah. But you are made to dream. Yes. You're made to desire. You are made to value. Yes. Okay? Now, that doesn't have to be one particular picture of the future, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be you're fighting over this part of the future. If a person is just fighting with they must have this future, then maybe they need a little bit of help, okay, understanding life, okay? But, it's just sometimes as simple as the partner feels there was a certain way they were hoping their life would unfold, or a certain way that they wanted marriage or friendship to feel. Okay? And sometimes, right, for many of us even, actually a lot of us, right, we don't even know how to articulate what our dreams are. Yeah. We don't even know what our needs are. Maybe you grew up and your needs were always suppressed. Especially if you were abused or have a very domineering parent, the control freak. Yeah. Then you always you have a need and then you push it. Have a need and you push it. Are you here with me? Yes. So you don't even know how to express what are your hopes or dreams or needs. You don't even know yourself. Okay? Yeah. You don't even know how to tell your closest partner. You feel embarrassed. Do you have friendships like that? Where you're very close to somebody and then you're sitting over coffee and you want to tell them that you have this struggle you're having, but you're too embarrassed to say it. You cannot come out of your mouth. Have you ever had that moment? Yeah. Okay? We all have these things, right? Yeah. And sometimes you don't even dare to admit those dreams to yourself. Okay? So, you know what they found? There are actually no 100% deal breakers in conflict. We're not talking about character deal breakers now. We're talking about conflict deal breakers, okay? Yes. There are actually no 100% deal breakers in a gridlock conflict except for 3 things. Now, we're talking marriage here, okay? Marriage, First one, abuse. We covered that in red flags. Yes. Okay? So, this is other interesting thing. In the US, they found, 80% of abuse in the US is situational. And only 20% is characterological. Now, what do I mean by this? 80% of the time when a police respond to a domestic violence case, for example, it could be the argument got too heated and they accidentally shove each other, or somebody got so angry they smashed something, but didn't intend to hurt anybody. It's a situational, hyped up in the moment. It doesn't make the person an abuser. Yes. Okay, it doesn't make a person an abuser. So sometimes, especially, it's when, I've had this happen to me a few times, Where couples come to me, and they say, this happened, and then one person starts to accuse that person is abusive, red flag, pastor, Then I go, what happened? Okay, so not invalidate, I hear everything, I go, okay, tell me what happened. And then actually it turns out the fight escalated, And everyone got too heated because they're so emotional, they're fighting over something of those 3 things, Okay, needs are not met, and then it got too emotional. Maybe somebody screamed and then it scared the other person, In fact, sometimes I find the ones who report it too easily are usually the ones who are the narcissists. Yeah. Narcissists will call you out, before you can call them out. People who are abused, are shackled. They won't dare say anything. It'll take them very long to report an abuser. Yeah. So sometimes the abuser report them first. That's happened to me a couple of times in my career, in working with kids, in abusive homes, that's what happens. Yeah. Okay? So 80% is situational. 20% is where we get dicey, it's characterological. In fact, that's the funny thing. So when a person comes to report, then you go there to protect the other person and talk to the person, ask them what happened, Actually, this person has been abusing them for a very long time. Yes. Okay? But new is hitting a point, So protect themselves first. Okay? So abuse is the number 1 deal breaker. Cannot resolve this conflict. Yes. It is characterological. Okay? Yes. Number 2, refusal to seek help for addiction. So this is probably a very US thing. Okay, I don't know how to characterize this. Maybe it could be vaping, maybe it could be alcohol, maybe it could be gambling. Okay? Yes. Deal breaker. Yeah. Cannot fix a relationship when it's this situation. Yeah. And they don't want to get help. Okay? Yeah. Third one. Listen very carefully. Differences in having kids. Yeah. Okay? So if you ask any of the couples here in church, when they come to speak to me in marriage prep, they're about to make a decision about marriage, and they haven't had a conversation about children, I'm like, go and have a conversation about children. Okay? You may, right now in the heat of the moment, you want to marry the person, because of this. But I go, do you want children? How badly do you want children? How badly do they not want children? Because it's a deal breaker. Okay? So you got to understand, it happens all the time. I hear this, and I'm sure you heard this from friends also, They are 5, 10 years into marriage, and the other partner say, okay, maybe I can live without kids. Maybe I can. And sometimes the poor men, are the ones who kena the most because it's the woman's body, correct? Yeah. So they get scolded, for wanting to force the woman to have kids. But it's the dream that they had all along, and they try to suppress. But then 10 years into the relationship, they go, I really want kids. Yeah. And then they fight. How dare you change on me? No, he didn't change. He didn't know how to say. Yes. Okay? So Actually, it's quite funny. This book right here, their first case study in the book, right, was about a couple who got a dog. Okay? So I don't know whether to spread this thing to also about the deal breaker is about having dogs. Okay, because what happened in this story, right? This couple, right? One of them wanted a dog, the other didn't want to have a dog. Okay, so before they got married, they're going on adventures, they're traveling overseas, and so the husband, when this is how I want my life to look like for the rest of my life, I want to be fancy-free, no attachments. I want to be able to travel without worrying about the kids. I want financial freedom to do anything that I want. Correct? And so the wife also enjoyed traveling. So at the time, when they are dating, right, they're having fun. Everyone's like, yeah, this is the guy, we're compatible. We love the same things, correct? But inside, there was an unexpressed dream. I want a family. Okay, but they're having so much fun, right? 90% of the time when they're dating, right? And when they're engaged, right? So I think I can live without it. Because I'm having so much fun right now. Right? But then after you get married, it starts to fester. Correct? It starts to fester. Right? And so she tried to make up with it by getting a dog. She goes, let's get a dog. No, I don't want a dog. Who's going to take care of the dog when we go away for overseas trips, right? And then she's not hearing him because she doesn't recognize how badly he wants this life. Okay? Because she thinks, no, we want the same thing, correct? So this lady goes, I will surprise him with a dog for Christmas. Right? I'll get him this dog. And then, I've heard all the stories on Instagram. He didn't want a dog, but then he fell in love with the dog. See, I did that to my mom, with Sam, right? No dog, no dog, no dog. And I'm like, I want a dog, I want a dog, I want a dog, right? And so what did I do? I got the dog. Me and my brother got the dog, right? And we didn't tell her until the dog was coming over, and suddenly a playpen appeared in front of the house. When she drove in the driveway one day, what is this? Right? But we flipped the coin there, right? But no, this one not deal breaker lah. Okay, in our case, right? Because got different people in the family to take care of the dog. Okay, so, and then the dog shows up, right? She won't speak to me for one whole week. Okay, but after that, can I play with the dog? And then now the dog is her palpe. But that doesn't happen with everybody, because guess what? This couple is not quarreling about a dog. They're quarreling about their dreams and their values. I want a life of adventure and freedom with no attachments. I want a family. And actually, that priority that you have is secondary to me. I like having fun, but I want a family. 1 year into marriage, they break up. Divorce. Even though they were having so much fun for years up to that point. On paper, they were compatible. It seemed like when they first write down their values, they were the same. Are you here with me? Yes. By the end of the day, it was not. Okay? Following me so far? Yes. Okay. So if you're with someone you haven't had those conversations, you need to have those conversations. And you need to have it as honestly as possible. Yeah. Unless you think you can be unhappy for the rest of your life. Okay? Yeah. Because it might, some cases no, but a lot of cases yes, it will lead to irretrievable conflict. Yeah. Yes. Gridlock, not just perpetual conflict. Yeah. Okay? Yes. Number 5. Last one, tools for fighting well. Yeah. Okay? So all conflicts have one common thing. Okay? Dismissing the other person's negative emotions. Okay? So, the moment we dismiss, minimize, or invalidate, a fight will escalate. Very simple formula, right? Yes. A fight will escalate the moment you dismiss. Yeah. The moment you ignore, minimize, invalidate. Yeah. Why are you so emotional? Hi, I don't understand. Why you don't understand me? Okay? Yeah. It will escalate. Yes. Okay, so for example, negative emotion expressed, right? I'm really upset you forgot my birthday. Friend responds by minimizing or dismissing. We celebrated last week, it's not a big deal. Okay? Yeah. Then what happens? Emotion intensifies. then this is what we call flooding in the brain. Imminent. Okay? Because your brain will flood with emotion. Yeah. Got it? Yeah. It will short circuit you being able to think straight. And then what happens? It starts to manifest in one of the 4 horsemen. Defensiveness, criticism, contempt. You also forgot my birthday last year, what? Right? But then for one partner, forget the birthday may not be an issue, you know? Correct? Right? Because needs different, right? Okay? Criticism. You are very, very hard to please and high maintenance. Okay? Right? Or contempt, hey, yeah, whatever lah. Okay? Or stonewalling, blank. Too stun already, avoidant too stun already. High tail and run. Is it intentional? No, just automatic response, right? Fight or flight, right? Volatile will fight. Avoidant will fly. Got it? And then after that, escalate. And then hurtful words, damage. 5-to-1 ratio, negative to positive versus the other way around. Can, huh? Yes. Okay. So, what do you need to do in a conflict when it starts to escalate and flood, okay? Actually, your automatic response should be, and this is where validators are very smart, number 1, take a time out. Take a break. Okay, whether you're volatile, whether you're avoidant, whether you're a validator, everyone take a break. Because as long as there's flooding in the brain, behavior won't be rational. Okay? And sometimes, let me give you a tip, right? When you're dealing with someone where you are calm but the other person is not, right? Take a break. Right? I will sometimes interrupt. Okay, let's reset. Okay, now some people will get angry because they are in flooding, right? But it's okay. Okay, let's take a breather. Validate first, then we take a breather, come back to it. Okay? Then when you argue, listen, number 2, start with what you want, not what you don't. I don't want you to like that. I don't want you to do this. I want you to stop, right? So, could you please? I would like. I need help. Okay? I need. I want. Not the negative. Okay? 3, explain why. Focusing on your needs. I need to feel I'm feeling very tired. I'm feeling a bit frustrated. Okay? Yeah. Then I came home and everything is in a mess. Okay? Yeah. All right? Then find out if the partner needs empathy. Is there a reason? Okay? Yes. But even just by expressing, I want to hear you out, even the person doesn't have a good reason, right? They feel like you respected them. Yes. Follow up? Yes. Okay? And then explain why you need this. I'm feeling lately that I'm really struggling and feeling very overwhelmed. Yeah. And it's not so much about the dishes, but it's like when I come home and I feel like everything is a mess, I feel it's one more thing on my plate. Got it? Yes. And then find common ground. Common ground, guys, I need to stress this because this is such a problem in relationships. One person always give in. Okay? Common ground. And even in the long run of things, right, there must be taking turns. That is mutuality. Remember I said this right at the beginning of this series. The goal here is mutuality. Equality are very hard. I hate that word sometimes. Okay? I like the word, but I hate the word in relationships. Because how to be equal? One person is good at this, one person is good at that. One person at this point in time has time for this, the other person don't have. But the overall trajectory of your life, right, is it mutual? If it's not, you better reassess. Very hard to be happy. I think it's possible for one person to be very happy, but the other person will be very suppressed. And, I would say to the people who are happier, right, something is wrong with you if you are happy being happy with your partner being suppressed. Okay? Okay, last one. Use I statements rather than you statements. Yes. I need. I feel. I am struggling. Don't go, you are making me struggling. You are making me feel. Okay? Instead go, when this happens, it makes me feel. Can, huh? And if you still have a partner that persistently dismisses you, is hostile, turns it around to gaslight you, you are living with a hostile. Got it? Yeah. Okay, yeah? So here's the rule. Don't fight to win, fight to understand. Yes. Okay? Then also, let me say this, right? Don't expect fights to be perfect. Wow, okay, now PC tell me got 3 structure, like a 3-part structure, right? I must cycle through this structure. Okay? Oh, wow, PC tell me it must look like this, right? Then you try to strive for the perfect structure. Fights don't work like that one. Are you here with me? Sometimes you got to do point 2 2 days later. You know, sometimes point 5 you got to do 7 days later because that's all the partner can take at that point in time. Correct? Okay? So don't try to get it over perfect, all right? So Philippians 2:4, we should end with a verse. Huh? Okay, if you've gotten anything at all out of following Christ, if His love has made any difference in your life, if being in a community of the Spirit means anything to you, if you have a heart, if you care, then do me a favor. Agree with each other. Love each other. Be deep-spirited friends. Don't push your way to the front to win every argument. Don't sweet talk your way to the top to get what you want. Put yourself aside and help others get ahead. Don't be obsessed with getting your own advantage. Forget yourselves long enough, not completely, but long enough to lend a helping hand. Yes. If 2 partners can do this for each other, if 2 friends can do this for each other, listen, you're set in life to have very satisfying relationships.